Today, I'm speaking with Dr. Isha. Dr. Isha is a serial founder, and I'm quite excited to learn more about her ventures. Dr. Isha, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Toby. And it's so amazing to have a fully energetic discussion with you. And I'm so excited.
I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward. So, your profile looks amazing. There are a number of titles, a number of organizations you founded, TEDx speaker, right? Ambassador for global peace of the United Nations. I don't even know where to start. Do you want to give us a little overview about yourself?
Sure, Toby. Let me divide my profile into two. I am a technologist coming from a background of cloud infrastructure. I worked with data center management while I was with EMC, then VMware, HP. These are my fundamental building block, I can say, to the tech industry. And from there, I moved to GEMS Education Corporate Head Office and I worked with Finesse as a cloud infrastructure practice head, and then I found my own company and I started focusing on artificial intelligence. Maybe my passion towards technology, right from the entire growth of technology, from the data center management towards cloud infrastructure to the artificial intelligence. So it is like a graph. So I was there to witness the entire advancement and innovation in the tech industry. So all the time it is kept on driving and motivating me to move towards something innovative, something new. So that's when I fell in love with AI and, of course, on metaverse aspect as well. So that's my professional career. So if you look at my other side as well, which actually complemented in every journey of mine, I'm a Mrs. Universe 2019 Solidarity. I was the first candidate to represent the Middle East among 92 other countries at Mrs. Universe, and I won a title Solidarity. And I'm Mrs. UAE United Nation as well. And I also won the title Mrs. International and the top 50 inspiring women of UAE. Forbes featured me also as a crowned technopreneur, where tech brilliance meets beauty grace. There are a couple of other recognitions. My activities on the philanthropy as well as women in tech drive and few other aspects actually gave me a recognition, which in turn made my journey much more heard and seen a multifold time, I can say. So I'm just handling both my passion and profession at the same time and trying to balance it. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Amazing. You mentioned the word balance. I hear so many activities, and I know you are a mother of a 9 years old son. How do you balance all these activities while being a mother?
Wow. Oh, yeah, that's a very good question. If you ask me if I say it's doable, it's easy, then it's going to be a big lie. It is tough. Like when you want to gain something, definitely there should be sacrifices which happens on the other side as well. But no compromise that you can do when you being a mother and nurturing a baby, because your child don't want to know how big you are. It's all about their world is you, so you cannot compromise even the time, the affection and everything. Those aspect I really don't want to cut off my time, that I quality time that I spend with my child, which is so very important, because end of the day all that you're doing is for them. So it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, of course, women are multitaskers, so I always feel that they can do multiple job at the same time. You can be the best mother, you are a great entrepreneur, you are a great speaker, you have a talent, you are a public personality. All these things you can handle at the same time. I think women are blessed in the entire way the God created a women, in terms of brain, in terms of skill, talent, memory power, and of course immunity. I know that women live longer. So everything. So I follow a rule which is like a urgent important matrix. So this always served as a fundamentals for me to balance my day-to-day activities. So it's very important to understand which are your higher priorities, which are important and urgent, where you need to keep more focus on, which are non-important and non-urgent has to be striked out from
or
your entire schedule of
or
the day.
delegated?
And then of course, the other two options also you need to balance as per the priority. That's
Hmm.
how it's been done. And to be more, if we deep dive a little bit more, I can say I have four. It's a quadrant wherein there is a specific space dedicated for family and friends, and then your research development and education and studies all comes under one category, and me time where you are focusing more on yourself and your personal improvement and all that comes on another aspect, and then your career and public profile comes on the fourth quarter. So these balance
Mhm.
between these four quarters difficult, it's doable though.
Mm, yeah, I work with entrepreneurs on a daily basis, especially with startup entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Actually, I just came off a call with an entrepreneur just 4 or 5 months into the game. And he said there's nothing like a work life
Mhm.
balance. He said, I have to put the hours in. My wife has to understand it will just take a couple of years and then it will be better. I would like to hear your take on it. I have my take on it and I like communicated accordingly with him, but I would love to get your take on this perspective.
Yeah, so that is right. To move with any of your journey of your life, it's so very important for you to have a supportive ecosystem, because a supportive ecosystem will always act as your fallback mechanism. Right from my childhood, throughout my journey, I am self made, I can say. It was difficult to fight ahead alone many stages of the life. But once you start creating a supportive ecosystem, because the more you grow, more responsibilities comes into the picture and more bandwidth is being used, you are drained off in many aspects. Being an entrepreneur also means you are the CEO of the company. That too, if it is a startup, you are also the office boy of the company. You need to be open enough to keep your ego aside and
Very good.
humbled, stay grounded, because that success moment can come any time. But until then, it's so very important that you are open heartedly receive both failures as well as success with the same mindset,
I like that.
and be prepared because challenges keep coming in, because once you solve one challenge, there is another big one waiting for
Mm.
you, and you will solve the other one. The third one is waiting for you. Maybe that is, this time it's going to be bigger magnitude and bigger gravity, but then you cannot give up. It's more about your approach towards the
Yeah,
challenge
exactly. It
makes
has
your
to do a
success
lot with
criteria.
mindset and an entrepreneurial mindset. I work with a number of people that come from a 9 to 5 and they want to develop
Yes.
an entrepreneur mindset. I experience many times the relationship with the challenge is like a different one. The challenge is seen as a mountain
Hmm.
to climb. And I work with my clients on
True.
changing the perspective because every challenge we experience
Yeah.
in our entrepreneurship on the way to
Yeah.
success is actually bringing us
Correct.
closer to becoming the person we have to be in order to be successful because the challenge is going
Absolutely.
to be more difficult, right? The level increases,
More critical.
but
Mhm.
we grow step by step to become the person we have to be. That's the
Yeah.
perspective I have. And
So beginning of the steps looks very easy for you, but as you climb, it gets more and more difficult, and the force that you're applying against the gravity is more, as is exactly like the stepping up the
mm,
stairs is exactly the same way. And there are no failures in the life. You should always think that there is nothing called failure. It's always a success or a lessons
mm,
learned. So every challenges are giving you an opportunity to learn. So what are the possibilities? What are the risk mitigation steps that you need to take so that you don't encounter the same challenge again and again? So this is very important. And as you rightly said, 9 to 5 job is a very comfort. You're doing the same thing morning till evening. Even if you use the creativity, it always have strings attached, there are conditions attached, there are terms attached to it. So you're not completely yourself when you are working with an employee mindset. So being an employee is amazing, provided you being an individual contributor or you as a part of entire organization, or you are a leader of the team. But always work as you are an entrepreneur by yourself. You are an entrepreneur of yourself. That gives you a different mindset to open up your creativity, to meet the challenges, to take the risk. You have to definitely come out of that comfortable zone to be unstable. It's always good to be unstable. In the good sense, I'm talking about isotope which are unstable is only the one which is giving the higher energy. If you really wanted to explore your higher energy, you just have to be unstable and uncomfortable. That's when you create
Hmm.
something new. So this is what I feel
Yeah,
always.
there's a certain like being with the feeling of uncertainty. That's quite something people like
Hmm.
to avoid in an employment setting. You are basically safe, right? You at least you assume to be safe. You receive your paycheck at the end of the month, right? You have your environment, you have
Right.
your safe zone. As an entrepreneur, you don't know if you're gonna get the paycheck at the end of the month. You're the one who's gonna eat the last in the organization,
Who's gonna give the
right?
paycheck?
First, you feed your team members, right? Your suppliers, your clients in some regards, and you're the last one, right? That is something
Last
where
one.
you have to either have or need to develop really the right mindset in order to succeed here, right?
Hmm. So what I feel is that mentioned that we should be open enough to take the risk, but you shouldn't be fool enough to take an unplanned risk
Mm.
also.
A
It should be a
calculated risk,
calculated
yeah.
risk. So you should have a plan A, B, C in your place. If the plan A fails, there should always be a plan B that works, and plan C to be on a third aspect of it. So a calculative risk means you can afford to go down to a certain amount without damaging yourself, without damaging the company and your business. So that kind of a calculative risk is very important. And if you are someone who cannot afford to have an employees, there are multiple ways that you can optimize your cost. You can have outsourced, you can have time and material, you can have a per hour dollar work basis. So you need to plan what kind of a engagement model you require at this point within the system, so that you will at least have some basics to move ahead with. So calculation, even when you take a risk, is so very important. So I think that will optimize a lot of damage that can cause to your business or your company as it is. And as you mentioned, giving away the paycheck to others give a lot of
Mm.
satisfaction. And every single minute that you spend self and for your own creativity, for your own baby, because especially me being a mother, for me my company is like a baby, my child. So the affection and the motherly bond that I've been creating with my company and my employees are more like the
Mm.
children. So it's a different thing altogether, and I really love that. I always love to be in that kind of a zone.
Mm, I like that. I like that. You were talking about risk. Did you bootstrap your companies, your startups, or did you take investors in?
Yeah, I did a bootstrap in the beginning. We had the partners as well. And my company got incubated under a public listed company again, that's called 3i Infotech. And the investment on developing my IP and running my center of excellence and everything came from the incubate, me being an incubator under the public listed company, which I mentioned, 3i. So they were taking care. So it was like I didn't actually get a chance to face through the struggles of uh, the very first startup, because I was always under a protective umbrella helped me to nurture in the beginning stages. Now I feel I'm quite independent. I have a plans for expansion to other parts of the world, like Saudi Arabia is one of the major market that I'm targeting. UK is another aspect. So now I think it's the time to go for an
Hmm.
investment. I wanted to not just an expansion itself on the business aspect, also on the technical aspect, the new products, the new features and functionalities that I wanted to bring in. Investment is required, more people are required now. I'm trying to raise the
Hmm.
investment. I think everything has to take step by step, and of course there are multiple falls. When I say the journey, it looks very simple, it looks like very cakewalk for anybody, but no, it's not that. There are days that you don't have a sleep, there are days that you may not be able to eat food, in the sense you may be stressed out, you don't know what's the next step, how to move ahead. But it's all about you holding yourself
Hmm.
strong, and you know the doors are opening, and you keep trying and keep trying, never give up. So this is very important for every entrepreneurs and every startup. Specifically, when it comes to technology, it's very important because by the time you have an idea in your mind, you put the people together and start building it. Someone more brilliant than you and more richer than you already developed, and it's there in the
Mm,
market. And now, what's next? So, every idea should be scalable as
mm,
well. It needs to be something better, a step ahead. So, keep improving, that gives you the better
mm.
outcome.
I fully agree. You mentioned you had support in the beginning. Would you recommend for first time startup entrepreneurs to get a mentor or coach or an angel investor that is involved in not only the strategy, but also in, let me say, like holding hands or being like an accountability partner, or at least someone to reflect sometimes on development of product at the organization, but also about your mindset. The ups and downs are coming. If you are alone and you don't have experience, there's a high risk of failure. I researched the numbers, and only 10% of new startup organizations are succeeding. 85% of CEOs and founders are burned out and have massive effect on their family lives, social lives. And obviously, that bounces back at some point and your performance is reduced, right? So it's not sustainable. Would you recommend a first time startup entrepreneur to get some guidance, mentorship, or coach?
Yeah, I'd say all my tough stages, I had mentors or a guide who genuinely want your success. So this is very important. Sometimes you remember I mentioned about a supportive ecosystem. It can be friends, family, mentors, it can be an organization themselves or your partners. Whatever, in some form or shape, a supportive ecosystem is very
Mm,
important. And once you build the trust in the market, then your supportive ecosystem expands to more your customers, clients, and vendors as well. So, as an organization, your personal ecosystem plus your professional ecosystem put together creates a complete of what you are. Mentors always guide in every aspect. I have seen
mm,
and I have personally faced as well. Being a startup entrepreneur, being a startup founder, sometimes there are time that you feel like giving it up. Sometimes you feel like giving up every aspect because it's not just affecting you financially. It's like a chain reaction. The financial downfall will also affect your family relationship, your trust, the trust with your families and friends, the relationship bond, everything started loosening up. So that is the time that you may require definitely someone to motivate
mm,
you, someone to show you a light on the other end of the
mm,
tunnel. And he knows that I'm just passing through it, it's just a matter of time. And if I am able to pass through it, I do have a light waiting
mm,
for me. So this motivation, someone to hold your hand at times, is very important. Some people are very lucky to have some mentors around who will rightly guide you. And this is I feel personal, professional, it's always very
mm,
important. Financial guidance also these days people are taking it separately because especially being a founder, you may not be knowing how to use it wisely, the right way, how to optimize the cost, and how should you plan your growth ahead. So all that thing, if there is a financial advisor with you, will also support a
mm.
lot. And always remember one point: I and you cannot win alone. It's
Mm.
we that we win
Yeah,
together.
I like that.
Success always
There's
comes.
another resource.
Yeah, success always comes
There's
together.
another resource beside time and money. This is like manpower. And you just mentioned it's a we, right? I see many organizations, they start off in a small founder team, they raise money, and then it's all about building a team fast. And when it gets over around
Mm,
15 employees, then it starts to get a little difficult. The company culture isn't really translated. The vision of the CEO and founder doesn't really get through
mm,
probably the C level, but
get
especially the teams under the C level. So it starts to get a little
mm.
shaky in the communication, especially in hybrid or remote organizations. I've experienced that numerous times. And do you have any advice for team building in remote and hybrid settings?
Yeah, you're 200% right, Toby, on this aspect because a startup organization will not have a proper structure in the beginning. It may be two people or three people vision which is in the papers. Maybe that's a reality. It may be in a paper. I have read the story of how Amazon has been built. The AWS, the entire organization which is number one in the world, has come from coffee discussions on a tissue paper. So some of the greatest ideas just comes like that, maybe just to talk in the air, materialize into something really fantastic. The organization structure, formation, and the culture, because we don't know what is our shared goal. So for some it will be about, I need my product to be in the market. For some it will be more about, I need to be the best visionary leader for the planet. Or for some it will be like, I need to make so much of money. So the goals are different. So to come into one single shared goal and mindset, specifically it should start from the
Hmm.
founders. That is very important. So in the beginning of the stage it will be like a pyramid. It starts from the top and then radiate down and delegate down into the employee level. And it will definitely take some time. If we as an employee getting into new corporate, it's taking at least 6 months for us to adopt to the
Yeah,
new culture.
absolutely.
So think about, when there is no culture, you're creating everything from the scratch, from the zero. It will definitely going to take 1 or 2 years to have the entire vision, the goal, the that pyramid structure which I
Yeah,
was talking about. Once the company is established, I would like to put the pyramid inverted. Then the culture starts from the employee and then radiates down. But in the beginning it's the other way. It should start from the founders and comes down to the employee. When I say, when the company is established, it's inverted pyramid, because your company perspective and the goals change as per the need and the requirement of your customer. And who is handling the customer? Maybe not the CEO. The people, your employees are the direct face of the
yeah,
customer. And then that radiates from the customers to the down.
absolutely.
So this is what I believe, and this is what I wanted to follow personally in my organization.
Amazing. So, with all your
Okay.
experience, if you consolidate everything, if you would give one advice to new startup founders, what would that be?
Hmm. Okay. So that's going to be like, dear startup founders, be prepared to face the problems, be prepared to face the challenges, market competitions. And it's the problem is not the problem. Your approach towards the problem is the advice that I want to give. And be ready to face and try to find opportunities in every challenges, and make sure that you succeed and you always keep that never give up attitude.
Amazing. Isha, thank you so much for your time. Amazing
Hmm.
interview. All the best on your journey.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Thank you so much. And thanks for the invite,
You're
Toby.
most welcome.